Hi, I'm Gemma Montgomery and welcome to the Excel with Ease podcast, bringing together service-based business owners in the aesthetic, beauty, medical health and wellness sector. Here we discuss different topics that will help you grow your business with ease while supporting your ultimate life vision. Hi there, welcome to this week's podcast episode. I'm Gemma, and if you don't know me by now, I usually do these podcasts whilst I'm on my long dog walks on the North York Moors. I've been in aesthetics now for coming up to 17 years, running my own private practice, and I have been a nurse since the year 2000. I qualified in the year 2000, so lots of experience, lots of highs, lots of lows, which I talk about on the podcast, which I hope will be of use to you all. So this week I want to touch on a subject that I talked about on my last podcast episode, which was about the feminine and the masculine energy at play within us all as individuals and how this can show up within our business. So before I start, when I'm talking about feminine energy and masculine energy, I'm not referring specifically to gender. It doesn't matter whether you identify gender as male, female, it's about the energy. And the masculine and feminine energy is at play within each and every one of us and everything else that you see in this world. But why I feel this is a subject that's so important, especially to me, is many of us that come from the medical background, whether it's nursing, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a physiotherapist, a paramedic, whoever you are that's listening, I believe organisations, whether it's the NHS, if you're in England, or whichever country you're listening from, have an impact on these energies drastically. And we tend to come into a place of opening our business from quite a wounded feminine energy and a wounded masculine energy. So how might wounded feminine energy be showing up in your business and in your life as well? So the wounded feminine energy will be an overextender. It will be the energy of people pleasing, the energy of the fear of what other people think. The wounded feminine won't have strong boundaries to protect her energy. If I'm referring to the person as her, it will be the energy of putting somebody else's needs and expectations above your own. And it'll be the energy of, should you put your own needs first, that would be seen as selfish. It would also be the energy of not being able to speak your truth, almost suppressing your own voice, your own needs. And when this feminine energy is wounded, you'll be quite disconnected from your centre, from your internal, from your intuition, and ultimately from your creativity. So in terms of feminine energy, when you look at this logically, when you've come from a background such as the NHS, you can see how we become indoctrinated quite early from the patriarchy. This shows everywhere. This shows in pay that we're willing to accept for the vital, important work that we're doing within the health sector, for the amount of studying that you have to do, for the amount of studying that you're expected to do once you've qualified, just to keep that registration, for the amount that you're expected to pay for your registration, for the holidays that you're allowed, that capped earning potential, the working conditions that we're supposed to accept, severely under-resourced, understaffed, but we're supposed to suppress that. Okay, we'll carry on because it's for the good of the patients. Complete brainwashing at its best, just to keep you silenced, just to keep that feminine energy that we all have within us, that power within us, completely silenced. I don't need to go into the ins and outs of it, but if you think about your working day, your working week, your working year within sectors such as the NHS, you're basically taught to suppress your own needs, to put up, shut up in whatever conditions that you're in, keep going, keep piling more on. It's seen as weak to ask for help, or it's seen as weak to be able to speak your truth. And there's certainly no space within that day, within that week, within that month, within that year to tune in, tap into any form of creativity, to be able to use any creativity and any intuition. And I know for me, like as soon as I started my nurse training, which was back in 1997, I could literally, and the working conditions were nowhere near as severe as they are now and under-resourced, but I could feel like my essence literally shrinking. So I was really quite outgoing, social. I loved to dance. I loved to go clubbing. I loved laughter. I'll always admit I wasn't a rule follower. I like to live outside the rules, but not in a way, I was never naughty at school. I didn't have detentions and things like that. But I loved not to be at school, basically. I loved the weekends and I loved time with friends. And as soon as I went into the NHS, I remember distinctly thinking, what's happening to me? I could feel my essence shrinking. I remember feeling like I couldn't relate to a lot of other people. I remember rules on, I was a student nurse on one of the surgical wards, and I must have called the nursing sister by a first name. Well, I thought that's what we all did. And oh my God, the looks I got and the dressing down I got for addressing this nurse by a first name was just, it was just unbelievable. And I just couldn't get my head around it. It was a little bit different when I went into coronary care because it was such a small unit. You only had maybe eight patients in there, because it was an acute area. And we had a real blend of like male and female staff, which I think helped to kind of balance the energy somewhat. And because we didn't have a lot of patients per staff, ratio, it was just a bit more dynamic, a bit more vibrant, a bit more it was just quite different, which is, I chose to sort of specialise in that area. But even now in the world of aesthetics, I can always really identify those that are from a medical background, and they almost come with like the shoulders shrugged, a little bit like you can tell that they put themselves last. And they almost feel guilty for coming and having some form of treatment. So they'll say things like, oh, I'm only doing it because of this or because of that, and I'm not vain. And it's the guilt that they have all around them for doing something nice for themselves that's going to make themselves feel good. But it's so brainwashed in them that they feel guilty for doing that. So that's kind of the wounded feminine energy side of things. And you can imagine if you're coming into business where your feminine is suppressed, where your feminine feels that she's got to put herself last, where your feminine is used to working for low pay despite high stress, where it's not safe to be able to speak your truth, and it's seen as weakness to ask for help and to be able to outsource things. You're totally out of touch with your creativity and a connection with yourself. Can you see how already you're on the back foot and how that's going to start impacting the success and the energy that's allowed to sort of infiltrate your business for it to be able to grow? I mean, you might not have even ever let yourself dream or ever be able to envisage how you really want your life and your world and the way that you feel at work to truly be, because you've been so used to going to work and fulfilling a role where you feel your energy just feels very sort of depleted. Many people, they don't make a clean break and they sort of dipping the toe in and out of each sector. So they're still doing their NHS work, the traditional nursing work, and they're dipping the toe in aesthetics. But your energy is your energy. It's with you no matter what. So often the way that you've been carrying your energy through those beliefs that you've been indoctrinated with, or the beliefs that you've chose to take on as your own, they have no choice but to cross over into your business, because your business is just an extension of your own energy field. It's just a mirror, an outside representation of what you're carrying inside. So how does healthy feminine energy look? Okay, so let's kind of flip it on its head. Healthy feminine energy isn't afraid to speak clearly and to speak with truth. It's very tapped in and led from intuition and creativity in the way that you would make your decisions. It's healthy expression, it's fun, it's play, it's allowing yourself to be able to receive, which is something I know that I struggled with for many years. If you've had sort of hard times in life and if you've had hard times in the working world as well, feeling joy and fulfillment can sometimes feel unsafe for your nervous system because you're always, especially in nursing and in the acute sectors, the way that you've been working all those years is with hypervigilance and fear. So you're working in a way where you're always looking for what could go wrong next, what could lead to this emergency, or you're always kind of on high alert and having to stay one step ahead. And whilst that's good for the emergency services, because you do need that adrenaline and that tunnel vision to be able to knuckle down and get the job done, it isn't good in terms of owning a business when you do need that creative energy. You need to be able to lead sometimes from intuition. You need to be able to come up with those creative ideas. You need to be able to see abundance and opportunities. And ultimately, your energy needs to be in receiving mode so that you allow yourself that joy and that fulfillment and that abundance, because we block our own abundance like on a subconscious level. We don't even know we're doing it. We can have walls so guarded and so built up inside and around our heart center that we don't know that we're blocking out all the good things that life is trying to show us and life is trying to give us, because we're so entrenched in the energy of fear. And don't get me wrong, I did love my patients and I worked with some really good staff, but ultimately, healthcare centres around fear. You only have to go on to Instagram or, I don't know, TikTok or Facebook or whatever platform you use, and you will see how fear is what's driving the economy, especially in relation to healthcare. So it could be something like, I don't know, look at this. This could mean that your heart's doing this and it's not right, or you've got an autoimmune problem, or you've got this and you've got that, or signs of cancer, or just things that are just making your nervous system literally go off on one and become completely dysregulated. Because the whole subject of health, as much as we like to think, it's making us feel good being healthy, and of course it is, we've got to be careful that the underlying driver of that isn't fear. So yeah, that's kind of the long way around in saying how feminine energy can become distorted from the patriarchy, from the brainwashing that we receive, from what we're told makes us a good human and what makes us a bad human, which essentially it's just societal brainwashing. It's not like the universe's truth, if you want to use that word, the creator's truth. It's all just societal brainwashing. But it can take a long time to kind of understand that and to get to that point. But, if that part of you, if that polarity of the feminine is quite wounded and you are carrying that round with you as if it's normal, of course it's going to impact your business and help it not get off on the right foot. We eventually want to be bringing you in, and you want to be coming into an energy where that feminine is more healthy and more balanced, so that you can express, so that you can create, so that you can lead from intuition, so that you can see those opportunities, so that you can allow yourself to receive abundance, so that you attract those clients that are aligned with you. And when the energy is wounded as well, it can make you quite whimsical as well and not have much structure. So you might feel like you're doing all the things, but you're not really kind of getting anywhere because there's no structure. Feminine energy that's wounded might be looking outside, externally all the time for validation, not seeking the validation from within, and being so secure within yourself that you don't need that outside validation. That's when you know as well that you're coming kind of a little bit more into balance, which then segues on nicely to the masculine energy that we all hold within ourselves. So again, I can go into this in a lot of detail. I'm only just touching on it whilst I'm walking, but how might unhealthy masculine energy look? So if your masculine energy is out of balance and it's more on the wounded side, is the term I I guess that's used a lot now and branded about, but it might look like you have become a little bit of a workaholic, almost like you feel that you've just got to be on it 24/7 because, God forbid, should you take your foot off the accelerator, it'll all fall apart. That's the underlying fear that you will have. You might be leading your business from a place of ego. So looking for that external validation all the time. So you'll be working constantly, fixating on numbers, fixating on the growth side of things, which, don't get me wrong, that's so important. That's needed in your business, but not at the detriment where it's becoming like addictive and obsessive and nothing else matters apart from focusing on the metrics all the time, constantly. So I would say being on it all the time is when it's not healthy masculine energy, where you're not allowing yourself those breaks, where you're not allowing the feminine energy within you to be able to take over, where, you know, it wants room to breathe, it wants room to play, it wants room to have fun in your business, but also outside your business as well. It's that healthy kind of balance. You may be coming from a place of ego where, you know, the masculine energy within you is taking things quite personally. You might be comparing to others constantly and quite competitive, not allowing yourself to kind of just be more in flow. So a lot more rigid is the way that I would kind of describe it. Again, there's so much more to it, but I'm just kind of touching on that today. So how might this impede your business? Well, you imagine if you're just constantly focusing on business all the time, you're going to burn out fast, but you're also unknowingly going to be coming from a place of depletion. The world isn't responding really to the actions that you take, although the actions are important. It's responding to your energy and the vibration that you're emitting. By being on it all the time, you're actually restricting the growth because you've got so much resistance. Whereas if you just drop and you can lose the resistance a little bit, you allow flow to come in and you allow things to be able to grow naturally. But businesses do need masculine energy and they need healthy masculine energy. So if you think of your masculine energy as the safe container, it's a safe container that allows the feminine energy within you to be able to come on board. The masculine is literally like holding the feminine. So the feminine can come up with the creative ideas. She feels safe to do that. The feminine allows some play. The feminine allows you to speak your truth, as does healthy masculine energy as well. But it allows the feminine to feel safe to do so. So the masculine energy, I want you to think of it as the container. So the masculine energy might show up in your business as making sure that you have healthy systems in place, systems that enable the business to be tracked safely, to grow safely, so that you've got room to be able to take your foot off the gas and to be able to have that room for play and be able to have that space to be able to be in touch with your intuition. So it's healthy systems and healthy boundaries is the best way that I would describe the masculine energy, particularly in the kind of businesses that we run. So the systems are there to enable you to be able to run your business more effectively. They're there to be able to help you automate more things that were taking up vital energy that didn't need to be spent all the time. So how might that show up in aesthetics? That might be in your CRM systems that you use. It could be your email database, in systems that speak to each other, so you're not having to do as many things manually. It might be in your accounts, in the way that you track your numbers, your figures, your analytics. But all these things are essential to be able to help your business grow in a safe way. So the masculine is, in a way, providing the safety, providing the container within you to be able to let the feminine energy within you have expression. And I would say, particularly over these last sort of 3-4 years, that this dance between this masculine and feminine within me has been like next level sort of inner work. I'd say the first sort of decade and a half of my business, it was really working on everything that was coming up with all the fear, the constant fear, the limiting beliefs, the way that I was holding myself back, working through blocks that I didn't even realize that I had, trying to navigate two young children. My children are now my son's nearly 18, so he's pretty much doing his own thing. My daughter's 14, so I'm at a completely different place in life now. I'm able to have a bit of space. I'm able to dive a bit deeper. I'm able to be able to tune into, okay, what's next from a conscious way. So for me, I know now that as your life changes and your outside circumstances change, of course, it's natural that your business is going to evolve in the same way. So for me now, my next step is, okay, how can I gain even more freedom within my business? My whole the whole 16 years was, how can I gain as much freedom as I can around the restrictions that I've got? And now I've got new sort of goals and ideas and things that I want to do in life. It's like, right, okay, how can I have even more freedom? But with any business, whatever stage you're at, you need to have a recognition of these energies that are at play all the time and have good practices in place that help you to balance those energies within you better. So I won't go into balancing, obviously, the energies today, but I just want you to have an awareness of these energies that are at play all the time. And if you're struggling with something within your business, just being able to highlight that, okay, yeah, this is the feminine essences in me that's not being able to get expression, needs to be a bit more healthy. Okay, I'm a bit too swinging over to the masculine side. I'm becoming really on it all the time, workaholic all the time, not the healthy masculine. How can I bring a healthy sense of masculine energy to the business to be able to give me that real nice kind of safety container? Because there's no better feeling than being authentically you and being able to lead and grow your business and operate within your business fully as you, not trying to be like somebody else, not trying to look outside of yourself all the time, comparing, putting limitations on yourself with your earning potential, being fearful of being able to show up and speak on video or speak your voice or speak your truth just because you're so conscious of how you're perceived all the time. So such a huge topic, but it's something that I am going to be going into in a lot more greater depth, because ultimately these are the two energies that are at play within us, and having a healthy balance of these energies is key in being able to identify what energy you're operating on. If you're becoming stuck in your business, okay, why am I stuck? Or if I'm becoming burnt out, what's going on? Oh, right, okay, I see, I've been more in this masculine energy. Or if you're not making headway, you feel that you're, say, whimsical and you're running around all the time and you're not progressing, you're not really getting anywhere. You might be in a feminine energy that's just not, it just needs that little bit more masculine structure and masculine safety container. So yeah, just some thoughts today, some thoughts for reflection. We're coming up to half an hour now, so I hope that makes sense. I hope it's not too far out there for some of you, but ultimately we are all energy. That's what we are. We're energetic beings. Everything is energy. And if you start like having fun with it, and you'll see the world's a mirror, but your business is a really good place to start to see the energetics at play, and just use it as a mirror to be able to bring yourself back into balance and to be able to work with the energy, so that once you can kind of work with the energy, you'll be able to achieve things that you probably never knew was possible, particularly if you're kind of crossing over from those traditional NHS roles, which, like I said, before I finish off, I can always spot the NHS healthcare workers a mile off, and, feeling so bad for doing something that might make themselves feel good, and feeling unsafe to do something that feels good. Again, all energy, all beliefs, things like that. So I say this all the time before I finish off. I can talk about injection techniques till the cows come home. I can show you how to deliver beautiful natural results with injection techniques, but that isn't what drives you forward. That isn't what helps you grow as a human and helps your business grow. It's literally the inside stuff, because all your business is showing you is what's going on internally. So, right, I shall get back to the car now. So have a lovely day and take care.
Thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you discovered some useful tips and takeaways. Don't forget to please rate, review and subscribe, and as always, pass on to a friend who you think will find this podcast super useful.